Welcome back to Access Channel Comics. Well, guys, it's been one great week. I have really enjoyed this week, so I'm just going to jump right into it. This has been a great week for entertainment. I know that may be a phrase that's used loosely, but it really is. I went out, did some traveling. On my way to Los Angeles, I got the chance to stop in Durham, North Carolina. They had Durham Comic Con going on. This is my third year going in a row, and I really enjoyed it. Durham Comic Con is one of the Comic Cons that is hosted in the North Carolinas. They have them sometimes come to Raleigh, but mainly Charlotte and Durham. And they actually have one coming next month to Durham on December 13th. So I'll check the web for that. And if you get a chance, stop by. They're local. And sometimes they have some pretty big names come through. I know last year, Neil Adams, legendary artist who worked with Denny O'Neil on the Batman series back in the 70s and did a lot of artwork. He was there. And I remember seeing a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, John Barrowman, he from Arrow, the Dark Archer of Malcolm Merlin, he did some speaking and everything. But this is pretty cool. So just wanted to go over that and I may in the future bring some highlights from that. As far as interviewing people when I go to feature events. Now jumping along, getting right into things. A great week of superhero news. I mean, we've been hearing a lot of great things, such as, for example, Marvel has announced an Inhumans television show. So I know some people were bummed that they weren't going to get an Inhumans movie, but you will be getting a television show. It will be going on a year, almost a little less than a year from now, in the fall of 2017. It will be on ABC. It would not be a spinoff of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but it will be in the same continuity. So that's a pretty good thing. Inhumans are kind of like Marvel Studios' kind of replacement of X-Men. In my opinion, you can't replace X-Men, but it's understandable. Also, it's just so much on Marvel's plate. They're bringing out so many terrific movies. I commend them for bringing Inhumans to the television. So it'll more than likely be a 2-hour pilot premiere, and let's see how things go. That brings us on to more television news and The Current, which, as you know, DC is knocking out the ballpark. DC is the king of television when it comes to its comic book shows. Only a few that's going to rival them, such as like The Walking Dead and anything like that. Of course, The Walking Dead is the top dog, but DC's television shows, they are just knocking out the ballpark. Beautiful work done, with the Supergirl, The Flash, Arrow, DC's Legends of Tomorrow shows. Don't forget they also have Gotham over on Fox, even though that's not set in the same universe, but still it's DC. Lucifer also, which is a Vertigo DC Comics. Keep in mind, Preacher is also with Vertigo DC Comics. Keep that in mind. Now, with that said, their Big Four of a crossover event is going to be coming. It's going to be based off their big comic book Invasion, and the creatures look terrific. Looks like they just stepped off the comic book page, which are the aliens. It's going to be so fantastic. We've been getting a lot of highlights, what's going to be going on with the crossover, a lot of magazines out, so you get a chance to check that out. But the cool news is this: Supergirl will be remaining Mondays at 8 o'clock. Opposite Gotham, which is on Fox at 8 o'clock on Mondays, but Supergirl will be remaining on Mondays. The Flash at 8 o'clock. But there's going to be a time jump, which is ironic for Legends of Tomorrow. DC Legends of Tomorrow is really knocking out the ballpark. CW like what they're saying. I'm going to say I really enjoyed the episode, especially on the episode on last night. Jonah Hex was back to return. Old Turnbull was a villain up there. So great thing. Only if they would have done the movie like that years back. But anyway, bring that to speed. DC's Legends of Tomorrow will be transitioning, will be time jump moving to Tuesdays at 9 o'clock after The Flash. And that is very cool news. So we get 2 DC shows back to back on the same night. Also, Legends of Tomorrow got good news. It's been a 13 episode season, but the CW has ordered 4 more episodes because they're very proud of the work that been going on with Legends of Tomorrow. So that time jumps and makes a little bit longer season for Legends of Tomorrow. Now you may be thinking like, hey, well, 13 episodes not a lot, or 17 episodes not a lot. Actually, it is for a season. It's not as big as a 22, 23, 24 episode season. Some shows are like that, but you got to think about the breaks in between. Some of these shows get breaks and stuff mid-seasons, so it actually, and also you got to let the actors rest up some, and also they have other projects. So That is actually very good. So I'm happy to hear about that. I'm a huge fan of Legends of Tomorrow. The whole DC universe is just a beautiful thing to me. And so that will be coming on Tuesdays after The Flash. Don't know exactly which date, so check that local time listing, because the reason why they're doing this, because also Supernatural is going to be still on Thursdays, but moving to 9 o'clock. On Thursday. Well, actually, it's on Thursdays now at 9 o'clock, but it was mentioned something about a time jump for Supernatural. Also, the reason why they're doing this because you also have other CW shows returning. iZombie, which is a Vertigo DC Comics television show, that is also returning. The 100, and if I'm not mistaken, Reign, those television shows are going to be returning also. So they're doing some switching up, and Arrow will still remain in its position Wednesdays at 8, the same like it first originally aired. And I must say, Arrow is phenomenal this season. Arrow is back on that level where season 1 and season 2 was. And season 2 is a hard season to top. It's kind of like having a movie. Part 1 was very good. It was awesome. Part 2 was phenomenal. And then part 3 is kind of hard to top it, But they're bringing the epicness this season. We're going to go back to that in a minute, but just to go over a little brief overview, The Flash was amazing this past week. Also, we did get to see Savitar show up again, and Savitar, of course, he considers himself the god of motion. And they switched up for this show, the god of speed. A lot of people think it is Godspeed. It's not Godspeed, one of the newest villains in the comics. Godspeed may come later on in a couple of seasons when they don't want to go there just yet. If you take a look, I really like the way that Savitar looks. He's very metallic, very metal looking. He kind of looks like he looks like Megatron in a sense. And some people may wonder that is he a robot? No, he's not a robot. He's plated up. He's armored up. Keep in mind, Barry has a friction suit because these are all speedsters. When they run, if they wear like our clothes and go out and fight battle, their clothes will burn off of them. We saw that at the beginning of when the Flash first began. Now, sometimes you may ask yourself, well, Barry's clothes don't always burn off of him. Well, they really don't, because Barry, he runs fast with his clothes on, but he doesn't run for that long with his clothes on. But after a while, they'll burn off. That's why you'll be seeing Ezra Miller in the Flash movie and the Justice League movie and everything. If you notice, his suit is very friction proof. It's metallic looking, armor looking like it did on Justice God Among Us. And you can imagine when Bruce Wayne helps him with the upgrades, when Batman helps him. But back to the show of the Flash, also keep in mind at the end, you notice when Flash said to Joe and Wally, did you see that? And Joe's like, no, what are you talking about? That's the point. The Flash is a speedster. Speedsters can see speedsters. It could be that Savitar is moving so fast that no one else can see him. That's a possibility. Flash is the only way he can see him, because when they showed the clip when he had Flash pinned up against the ceiling, Flash is the only one who can see him. So in the comics, I'm glad they switched up. Savitar has a certain look in the comics that only works in the comics. Same thing with Dr. Alchemy. They looked like they was going to reveal Dr. Alchemy. He will be revealing who he is, if I'm not mistaken, in episode number 9. So it's more things to come. So I really like where the Flash is going. Even though they got another speedster, it's just not all about this other speedster. And the speedsters keep getting badder and badder. And this is what the Reverse Flash was warning him about. Reverse Flash is not there because he's got his own thing going on Legends of Tomorrow with the Legion of Doom. It's just so much great stuff that I'm like this. Hey, in the movieverse of DC, the DC Extended Universe, I do not find anything wrong with them taking notes from the television universe. Yeah, the little brother, put it either way, but it's just great. Now, moving right along with Arrow. Arrow is something that's definitely just. We got to see the Vigilante in there. There have been different versions of the Vigilante in the comic books. Now, we're going with this type of version right here. I did like the artwork to the side that the curator had done in the comics when Felicity had the monitor up on the screen, revealing who the Vigilante possibly is. But we pretty much all know who he is, so I don't want to give any spoilers if you read the comic books and watch the show closely. But at the end of Arrow told it a lot. We have Artemis meeting up with Prometheus up at the top, saying don't worry, they don't suspect a thing. She has been working with Prometheus. She's sort of on his side. She may be trying to destruct Team Arrow that she's part of. It could be because she know someone like if you caught an episode last week or a couple of episodes ago, she said she knows some of those people's names on Oliver's past list, the list from season 1. So she could be holding a vendetta against Green Arrow, Oliver, back when he was being, the Hood, Arrow, before he became Arrow. So that's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out, because if you go back to the ornaments on Young Justice, she sort of did a similar thing. On the show, on Young Justice, Sportsmaster, if I'm not mistaken, was her father, and Huntress was her mother. So that'll be very interesting to see how they do that. I can't wait to see, and we get closer to possibly seeing who more of the big bad of the season Prometheus is. Speaking of big bads, the big bad from season 2, in my opinion, the best villain that was on Arrow, and one of the best villains or anti-heroes, whatever you want to call them, in the DCU and all of comics. We do get to see a clip of Deathstroke in the big crossover event that's coming up between the shows. Don't know how they're going to fit him in. It's going to be very interesting. Is Mane Bennett going to be coming back to play the character? I hope so, but he looked phenomenal in the trailer. In the trailer, they do show him pull out his sword, and it could be in a flashback sequence, a dream sequence. I don't know. Maybe the same thing with Laurel is going to be, but this is all based on Arrow's 100th episode coming up. It's a milestone for Arrow. Deathstroke returning, Laurel returning. It's just going to be some pretty cool, fantastic stuff. Some stuff that I can't wait to see. I'm glad Arrow has really regained that thing that is Arrow. I do something else I want to see them do with the show is Mr. Terrific start throwing his gadgets. That'll be pretty cool, because they did show what he was working on before he became Mr. Terrific a couple of seasons ago when he introduced to Felicity. So that'll be pretty cool to see. But I really like where this stuff is going. If DC is just knocking out the ballpark. Same thing with Marvel's doing the movies. And I'm like this. I'm glad a lot of these properties are doing very well. We're living in the golden age of superheroes, with the television, the movies, everything. You got to think about what's coming. Young Justice season 3 has been announced. Let's bring something back to the animation table. Justice League Dark, the new trailers hit the web, and they also have a Justice League live action movie that is definitely going in, and so that's going to be just fantastic. Also, with the CW, DC television shows and other DC television shows all over the TV, they're dominating. Marvel on Netflix, and they got on ABC the live action Marvel Cinematic Universe, the DC Extended Universe and live action. Also, Valiant live action web series coming. Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe. This is just so cool. And I just can't wait for it all to see the culmination comes through. Speaking of more comic book news, over at Fox, in their Marvel setting of a universe, keep in mind, this is a setting that came before a lot of the ones that I just mentioned, and that is the X-Men. We know Hugh Jackman is gearing up to possibly do his final performance of Wolverine. And job well done. Also, Patrick Stewart's possibly last performance of Professor Xavier. But they are calling and stating that the X-Men universe will be rebooted. And what do I say by that? I'm really not surprised. We knew this was going to come again someday. Let's be honest. X-Men's continuity is all over the place. In some ways that's good, but in some ways it's not so good. But this will give them a chance to get a fresh new start. Let's be honest. X-Men Apocalypse was good. It made money at the box office. But it was not on the same level of, say, X-Men Days of Future Past or X2 X-Men United. It wasn't on the same level of X-Men First Class or anything like that. So with the reboot, also, Bryan Singer will be moving on from the franchise again. We knew this was going to come. Directors move on. They come and go. I doubt if he's going to be totally out of the picture. He may do some executive producing. We never know. Or they may consult with him about his opinion on things, which is understandable. He's been terrific to the franchise. They may do with him sort of like, for example, Warner Brothers still reaches out to Christopher Nolan regarding opinions about DC characters. Some people seem to forget there was a one time you had to go to Chris Nolan to use characters for the DC comics. That's how the Flash show got brought aboard, and Christopher Nolan was excited what they're going to do with the Flash show. Ben Affleck has reached out to him as far as advice on Batman and the characters, and that's very genuine, and I like to hear about that. The directors like Christopher Nolan, Bryan Singer, they're not trying to boss anyone around and take over the projects. They're letting, hey, this is what worked for me. Try this, but they tell people, do your thing. Put your spin on it. And so that's very good. And so Bryan Singer is going to be moving on. So this will give it a fresh start. Maybe them bringing some new director in who has a good vision, or possibly maybe them to kind of do like a Star Wars thing, had different directors directing. That's one of the things I really enjoy about Star Wars. They already have this pre-planned. They already got it lined up and planned instead of just pulling out at the last minute or whatever. So look very forward to that. We'll see. Do you think they will go ahead and reboot also the Wolverine character? Will they keep him out of the X-Men movies for quite a while? Something I would love to see is two things. I would love to see an original X-Men story of the actual original X-Men team. But I don't know if people definitely want to see that. They may be thinking of First Class. Or I would like to see the 90s X-Men team lineup. I'm not saying it's got to be set in the 1990s, but I would like to see that setup. That would be pretty cool, because that's what a lot of people have been wanting. And they want to see them at the age they were in the series. So we'll see. And will they mix with Deadpool in the future? Of course, Deadpool 2 is going to be getting shot. And so it's got a lot of stuff coming up. They have a chance to do something really new. And I really wish something can be done with Fantastic Four. Me personally, I want to see the rights go to Marvel Studios as far as Fantastic Four. But hopefully Fox can put something together. I just think it's a little too late for Fox now. I could be wrong, and I want to be wrong. I just think Fantastic Four will fit better over at Marvel Studios. People will trust that to be better there. So hopefully at least something can work out similar to what Sony with Spider-Man, what they worked out with Marvel to bring Spider-Man over into the MCU. So pretty interesting. What do you all think about all the news that's happened this week, the things that I mentioned in this video? Put your comments at the bottom. Anything that you want to say. Also, keep it clean, keep it neat. Let's get along with each others. Also, make sure you click that subscribe button. It's very important to click the subscribe button on the video. Also, check me out on Facebook, Access Channel Comics. You can check that out. We also have a social group called Access Channel Comics Unlimited. You can follow me also on Twitter at TheBanks26 on Twitter. Is a lot of great exciting things going on. I'm glad to be part of it. Very exciting, and the comic books are knocking it out of the ballpark and everything. The movies, Doctor Strange is doing very well right now. It's playing at the theaters and everything. Also keep in mind, next month, Mads Mikkelsen, of course, is in Doctor Strange, knocking it out of the ballpark, but he'll be back again in Rogue One, a Star Wars story, which opens on December 16th. Next month, so not too far away from that, so that'll be pretty cool. I also got news that a new Justice League footage trailer will be dropping. It's going to be questionable. We just don't know when. It could be at the premiere of Fantastic Beasts, which would be very cool because a lot of people are going to turn out for Fantastic Beasts. That's a Warner Brothers property. Or it could be at the premiere of Ben Affleck's new vintage gangster movie that comes out. So new Justice League footage dropping. Very excited about Justice League, one of the most anticipated movies of 2017. So yeah, it's a lot of things coming up. So like I said, put your comments at the bottom, click that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time. Remember, Access Channel Comics acknowledges that there are many, there are few, but trust me, my friend, there are none like you. Peace out.